Right? Hi, Max.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? You okay?
Doing good.
What's up?
Nothing. I've just been like, I got in a car accident recently, so I don't have a car anymore.
Oh my gosh. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, but that's rough not having a car, I know.
Yeah, and I really like appreciated that car and like put a bunch of money and time into it and work into it, so it just kind of sucks.
Oh my gosh. Was it your fault or their fault or what?
It's their fault, and I'm fighting the case right now. At first, it didn't look like I was going to win, but now it looks like I am.
Oh,
They pulled
that's
out in
good.
front of me from the Target parking lot on Sis.
Oh, jeez. They destroyed it so it can't even be driven?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
total. It was a 2000 Mustang convertible.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is
it
a
had
nice
nice
little
wheels
car.
and everything.
I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Mhm. And dehydrator. And dehydrator. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's just primer. It's just primer what they're going to get. Okay. So it says dehydrator in both, but they haven't been getting that in the kit. It's been just one, like primer.
So if they take their own kit, they have to have
A primer. Uh-huh.
and they put that on.
Mm-hmm. Well, they rough it up and then put that on. Yeah. Because I always tell them that the hydrator normally goes on before, after you etch it first, and then you wait, and then you put your primer on. Mm-hmm. Right.
So we're gonna put,
Their tip's already going to be on there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right, hon. Sorry.
It's fine, don't worry.
Hi, Anthony. I got my boys here today. You ready for skin? It's going to be detailed. Do you have your little book out or your little handout that they gave you
Yes.
for skin today? Yeah, okay. I'm getting everybody in here. I'm going to change my screen really quick, just for a second. I've got to change something here. I'm probably still there on you, huh? This is the one I always think, oh, nobody can see me, but you can see me. Scary. There you go. I always thought when I couldn't see you on the screen that you guys couldn't see me. And then I made some faces and then I was told, I can see your face. Oh good, it's still only 12:58. That was pretty fast. I had to go back there and make copies for one of the other students and I'm like, oh, I got to make this quick, but it was fast. We didn't have that many pages. So what's your homework this week on skin? What are they asking you to do? Sound, Anthony? You're muted. You're muted. There you go. I couldn't hear you. Go ahead.
Draw the layers of the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, a description of the Zoom class today. And then all of our key terms, which there's like 120. And then the SMART notes. And then for tomorrow, there were a couple of like definitions or whatever. So they want to know what like an example of this and the treatment. So that's
okay.
for tomorrow. That's for tomorrow's homework.
Okay. When we go through the diseases and stuff like that, I kind of cover most of it, what's in the book. So that helps, on your feelings. Were you going to ask me something, Elizabeth? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not that hard. I'm surprised they didn't ask you to do the actually make one. I made my students make one.
So they said draw or
Uh-huh.
simulate.
Okay,
And I couldn't figure out what I could do
to make one?
to make one. So I just got really creative with my drawings using colors and, you know, all of that.
Uh-huh.
They weren't really specific. They said layers of the skin. So I did the 3 layers, but then I labeled everything in it.
Okay, so what we did, that's a good idea. What I did with the girls when I told them to make one, okay, when we go through like breaking down the different layers and what it supposedly kind of looks like, okay, I had them use like cereal, like the first layer is supposed to be like cornflakes or like sloughed off flakes. So I said, use cornflakes for the very, very top, okay? And the layer right below that is supposed to be the clear layer. So I told them to wrap up some cellophane, like clear wrapping paper, and put that in between there. And then the third layer is the Stratum Granulosum. So it's kind of like granular. So I said granola, just crunch it up and put that in there, a layer of that. And then let's see, the spinosum is the one that's spiny. So I told them to use like little licorice strings or gummy bears or something that you can use to like stick between, because it's supposed to connect these 2 layers together. The spinosum, the stratum germinativum and the stratum granulosum, sorry.
See, that's what I. So then
The stratum granulosum. Sorry, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you at all, Anthony.
I wasn't sure if they just wanted the epidermis or they wanted all of.
Yeah, I think it's the 5 layers.
Okay, well,
It's the 5. Okay. So it's supposed to be basically the 5 layers of the epidermis.
okay.
Okay, but if you did that one, I'm sure they're gonna go ahead and say that's fine.
Well, I labeled
Okay, but-
everything, so it's all there.
Okay, and so let me see. So I got the 4th layer is the spinosa, and then the germinativum is at the bottom. I put sunflower seeds because they're like the bottom where it grows from.
Mhm.
That's how I did that one. So the bottom would be your sunflower seeds, and then your gummy bears, and then your granola, and then your saran wrap, and then cornflakes. All the way up in a glass jar so you can see it. But that kind of was to me what I could think of how those layers meant as far as their description. Does that help?
Yes.
But doing the colors is fine too, so that you can make it all pretty so we can see it. Seriously, I like colors. I'm a shiny person, okay? I like the shiny metals. All right, I'm trying to get everybody in here because we're gonna be working on chapter 15 today, the skin. My favorite, huh? All right, make sure I got everybody in here. Morning, Shay, Venetia, Lena, Isabella, Karina, Jocelyn. I already talked to Max and Anthony. I just want to make sure I'm getting everyone. All right, we're just going to give them a couple more minutes, all right, before I start this lecture, but we're going to be on, I think, okay, around this page. It's supposed to be 399 in your study guide or close to it, okay?
Miss Jenny,
Uh-huh.
what about the smart note on 14.2? Do we have?
No, I don't. No, that's just, those are actual ops. Those are operations, 14.2. When you're actually making the nail.
Okay, so we fill up that part of the smart note.
Yeah, but that'll be in like in your classroom, probably. Because that's actually operations. Does that make sense? Like when you make the nail, okay? Okay. The rest of it, I'm just doing like your book work, pretty much. So we finished our nail stuff. Did you take your nail test last week, you guys? Oh, you're still on leave, aren't you, Venetia?
Sorry?
Are you on leave still? Leave of absence?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
But you came back to the
I
school
came-
on Thursday?
Christmas. No, before Christmas.
Oh, you've been gone since, hold on one second. Okay. I don't see her. And she's not, I don't know. Can you ask her just to try and get on it again? Okay. They're telling me Adriana's trying to get on and I'm like, just keep trying. Because I don't see her trying to get into the class yet. Okay, Venetia, you've been gone since Christmas,
Yeah, I had my 2 Zoom with you,
right?
and then started in January.
Okay.
Yeah, I was back on Zoom before Christmas.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
so we just finished like the nails, okay?
No, I know.
Last
I
Okay.
was here last week, but there is like a small note where it says 40.2 natural nail care, special
Yeah,
nails.
but, and that's actually operation, so you're
Okay.
actually showing how to do a manicure, okay? That's all right. That's okay, we're pretty good. I'm trying to figure out why she can't get in this class. Am I getting echoes? All right, I'm gonna give it a minute. Let's, everybody shut off their mics and see if that helps at any, unless I call on you, okay? That way it'll help with the sound. And then we'll find out if we're, am I echoing now still? No, okay. All right, that makes a difference. I don't know why she can't get in. I don't think she's in the right class because I'm not getting, okay.
I think she just has a lot of it.
Yeah, she has the esthetician one and I'm, let me see if I can find it in mine. So I think I do have it. I don't know. Oh, what's her, Ariana? What's her last name? Oh, she's not supposed to be in there. She's on my morning class. Araceli Meza, is that who you're talking about?
No, it's.
Oh, Ariana? Adriana. Okay, I don't even see a message on the zip whip here. Hold on. I'm just gonna try.
I know the last name started with an M, I just don't remember.
Okay. A-R-A, right?
ADR,
A-D-R?
yeah.
Oh, wait, excuse me. Adriana Berrigan? Is that one right there? Starts with a
Yeah.
B?
I thought the last name said something different.
Okay. Cause see, I got Athena, see that, look, it's coming up. I don't know why it's not working on hers. So let me see if I can find her the, I'm gonna send her a message. Are you trying to get in? The only person I know. And I don't see her coming up on here, because it will usually tell me up at the top, you know, like they're trying to get in, yeah. Maybe there's another one. Tracy Lead, Adriana. Cardonas, and you said M, right?
Yeah,
So let's,
that's what the.
screen
it's
said?
called, yeah.
okay, I'm gonna go M here and see what happens.
Mhm.
Nothing.
So I guess just wait and see.
Yeah, I'll look for mine.
Mhm.
Let me see what it's called. I think it's under me. Okay. It's under the zip me. Sorry. I'm like trying to find it. Okay. Think it's on there? Okay. That's it. No. That's the one. What the passcode is?
I
Yeah.
don't know if he's here.
Um.
I can text him.
All right. Yeah. Ask him because I don't remember what he said. It's probably on the beginning of this. Does anybody have the number to get onto here? I think it's like 708-805. Wait a minute. She's right here. Never mind. Got her. Yep. MISAY. Could that have been her, Adriana?
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Then we got it. Never mind. All right. That was one student I couldn't get in. All right. Wait till she gets in. Adriana? Hi. You're having trouble to get in? Were you using this code?
No, I was using the one ending in 5685.
Oh, what's this one called? I know it's 708-805-5686 or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take roll, you guys. Okay. So you will have to say hello when you're here, okay? When I call your name. All right, Max.
I'm
Oh, you're
here.
still there. Anthony. Okay. Benicia.
I'm here.
Okay. Elizabeth. Gotcha.
Here.
Okay, Lena.
Here.
There you go. Okay, Shay.
Here.
All right, Jocelyn.
Here.
Okay. Isabella. There you are. Karina. Okay, Karina.
I'm here.
All right, and Adriana. And Athena.
I'm here.
Okay, so did I not call someone? If your name wasn't called, let me know. Okay, then we got everybody. Okay, cool. All right, so we should be on chapter 15, and in your study guide, it should be around page 399, okay? Or if your handout, your textbook, I'm gonna say 577. Give her to a page or two or something. Are my numbers matching yours? Yeah, okay. All right, so we're gonna do our little fill-in for our study guides, okay? The notes from that. And the first part of that, let me share my screen with you, okay? I'm gonna give it to you just a second here. And there we go. So let me know when you see this on your screen. Okay, you're going to learn the functions of the skin. Now, you know what, when you're taking your state board, okay, it literally has certain things that they want you to know for sure on your written exam, okay? And one of those is the functions of the skin, okay? So we're gonna cover that. The composition of the skin, they're talking about the different layers. The types of skin are like dry skin, oily skin, and then we're gonna go through the skin diseases and disorders, okay? So just so that you understand what we're gonna be covering. So I will let you know when you're going to fill something in on your workbook, okay? Let's change this page right here. It should have, okay, this is just telling you what I just said, we're gonna learn. Okay, function, composition, and types of skin and diseases and disorders, okay? All right, so this is gonna be the first thing you put into your study guide, okay? Dermatology, which is the study of the skin, its structure, functions, diseases, and treatment. Okay, that first paragraph right there is going to go where you have dermatology in your workbook, okay, or your handout. Okay. And the skin is the largest organ of the body. It covers the entire body. And it protects from invasion and outside particles. So in other words, it keeps the inside in and the outside out, pretty much. Okay. But all I wanted you to do was put in that dermatology so far. I think the next part of your workbook should have the functions of the skin. Is that correct? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to turn the page. All right, and I'm going to give you the acronym to help you remember what the functions of the skin are. Okay, they have them in a different order, but I'm going to give you the acronym for you to remember it, and it's called PASSER. You're going to write P-A-S-S-E-R. Okay, and even though I have these up on the screen, I want you to wait a minute because I'm going to have you put them in order so you can understand what they are. Okay, so number one is going to be protection. Okay, and obviously that's going to shield the body from impact of like heat, cold, bacteria, and other environmental aspects. But I think it just has a little block or bubble to put it in, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just put in protection on the first bubble. Okay, number one. Okay, number two is going to be absorption. Okay, and this is permitting that water and oxygen to pass through your tissues. Okay, number two is going to be secretion. Okay, or three, excuse me, secretion. This is moisture. It secretes also sebum that keeps the skin soft and supple and pliable and prevents that bacteria from invading the skin. But you only need to put secretion in. Okay. Number four is going to be sensation. Okay. This is where we feel heat, cold, pain, and pressure. Number 5 is going to be excretion. This is where you eliminate sweat and waste from the body. And then number 6 is going to be regulation. Okay, this is where we regulate our body temperature. Okay, so by using that acronym, you can help yourself remember. I've kind of given the definitions for what you see at the screen, but they should have put it in a little different order so that it helps you remember it a little bit easier. Because they will remember. Excuse me?
What was number 2?
Number 2 is absorption. So you have the word passer, P-A-S-S-E-R. Okay, and that'll help you remember what the functions are because they will ask that at board. Okay, it's a little easier than putting it all down like this and telling you to remember it, right? If you got a word that you can associate it with, it's a lot easier to remember. Okay, and then it goes through the composition, right? The next part of your workbook, the composition of the skin. And they're talking about the 3 main layers. So let me bring this up on the screen for you. Okay, and the composition is going to talk about the epidermis, okay, the dermis, and the subcutaneous. So in your study guide or your handout, under the epidermis, you're going to write the outermost layer of the skin. Okay, I'm going to ask you to put some other stuff in there, but just write that first, okay? Okay, I'm going to give you some other names for it, okay? You can write AKA next to that, and you're going to write cuticle, because it's also known as the cuticle skin, or scarf skin, like a scarf around your neck. So the epidermis is also known as the cuticle or scarf skin, or the horny layer. I know that sounds funny, but that's what it is. You know how a snake has, how it sheds its skin, okay, and it's tough, so the tougher the skin, it's like a horny outside layer. So that's why it's called that. Okay. All right. In your dermis, okay, you're going to write down underlying or inner layer of skin, just like it says on the screen here. You're going to fill that in, and then I'm going to give you some other names for it also. So go ahead and fill that part in. Okay, and other names for the dermis are going to be derma, D-E-R-M-A, corium, and it's spelled C-O-R-I-U-M. Okay, another word is cutis, C-U-T-I-S, or true skin. Okay, so you have underlying or inner layer of the skin, also known as derma, corium, cutis, or true skin. And the reason why it's called the true skin is that's because it's alive underneath there, okay? If you get a scar, you break the skin, you end up being scarred because now that's the permanent layer of the skin that leaves that scar. That's why it's called the true skin. All right, your third one on this page is your subcutaneous. And this is located below the dermal layer, and it's composed primarily of a fatty tissue, okay? And this one is also known as the subcutis, S-U-B-C-U-T-U-S, subcutis, or subdermis, S-U-B-D-E-R-M-I-S, okay? That's what your subcutaneous is also known as. Shay, you're looking at me like, what did you just say? Did you understand what I just said?
Yeah, I'm just watching the video as well.
Oh, okay. So it's not me, you're giving me those funny faces, huh?
Yeah, it's the computer.
All right. All right, so we should be like on page 400 now in your study guide, correct? That's all you had on that other page. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the 5 layers of the epidermis. Okay, and you're going to see it right here, and then I will actually give you info to put on there. Now I'm going to ask you a question right now. on your page 400, does it have protective, clear, granular, spinal, or spiny, and beginning on that page? Is it broken down that way?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it's going to go through like the common name and the special cells, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I want to make sure you guys fill in the right things. Okay, your epidermis again now is your outer layer of the skin, which is composed of these 5 layers of cells with differing characteristics and no blood vessels. So this means it's not going to bleed. If you draw blood, you're pulling from the dermal layer, okay, or the dermis. So your stratum corneum, you're going to write next to stratum corneum, okay? That's that top layer. Its common name is known as uppermost layer. That's what you're going to put in there, uppermost layer. Okay, its special cells are keratin protein cells. Okay. And its function is to protect the dermis and to shed. Okay, because it's going to shed off those top layer, right? Every 25 to 28 days. Okay, for as young as you are, that's about what you're going to get. As we get to my age in the 60s, it takes almost 90 days for my skin to do what your skin does. Isn't that amazing? That's why we have chemicals to help our skin.
Could you please repeat that for me?
Yes. The first one is stratum corneum. Okay. The common name is uppermost layer. The special cells are keratin protein cells. And the function is to protect the dermis and to shed. It's shedding off the dead layers. You'll hear it as like coming off in scales, like just shedding it, getting rid of it. Okay. All right, let me see if that actually goes into this here. Hold on. Oh, it's going backwards on this. Okay, so we're going to go right up here and I'm going to go through this page with you. All right, your second layer is going to be the clear, correct? The next one, and this is known as the stratum lucidum. Okay. Its common name is the clear layer. Okay, it's clear. It has special cells that are known as squamous, which means flat. I'm going to spell it for you. S-Q-U-A-M-O-U-S. Okay, squamous means flat and transparent, so you can see through it. Okay. Its function now is to protect the palms of the hands and soles of the feet. So this layer is only on the hands and the feet. Okay. Did everyone get those? Okay. All right, the next one is glandular. Okay, and this is known as the stratum granulosum. Okay. So you're going to write granulosum in there. Its common name is glandular layer. G-R-A-N-U-L-A-R. Glandular layer. And its special cells are granular, almost dead cells. Almost dead cells. And you're going to figure out the function. What it does is these replace the cells that are shed from the corneum. Okay. They replace the cells that are shed from the corneum. So I'm going to explain what that means. Since you lose that top layer, which is that stratum corneum, every 25 to 28 days, okay, everyone takes a shift upwards, okay? But that stratum lucidum isn't there on our face, and that's what we are talking about right now. So the stratum granulosum now becomes the stratum corneum next month, and then and so on, and just moves up every layer a month, you know, every 25 to 28 days. Does that make sense? That's why it's telling you it's replacing the stratum corneum when it sloughs off. Okay. Does everybody get that one? All the info that goes in there? Okay.
What was the common name, Miss Jamie?
Common name is glandular layer. G-R-A-N-U-L-A-R. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Your next one is the spiny layer, okay, and that's known as that stratum spinosum. Can you see how it's like jiggly underneath in that germinativum, that zigzag? I'm going to explain why it's doing that in just a second here. So I want you to write stratum spinosum on that top one. The common name is the spiny layer. Spiny layer. Its special cells are known as irregularly shaped. Okay, irregularly shaped and spiny. Okay. And its function is to absorb melanin to distribute pigment to other cells. Okay. It absorbs melanin to distribute pigmentation to other cells. Okay, because this one is known as that spiny layer and it gives you that little zigzag, the stratum germinativum and the stratum granulosum are held together by that spinosum. Okay, it's kind of interlocking like this. So if you've ever like picked up the edge of a scab, okay, and underneath the skin kind of goes like it's wavy like this, that's where that new skin's trying to connect, okay, and build it back up again with your blood that dries as a scab. Okay, so that's your spiny layer connecting the third and the fifth together. Does that make sense for you guys? Okay. All right. Now we get down to the beginning, which is the very bottom, okay, which is known as the stratum germinativum. Okay. Its common name is basal layer, B-A-S-A-L. Okay. And its special cells are known as living cells because they're alive. Because they're coming from literally right underneath that germinativum is the dermis. So you're coming from the live cells to the dead cells, and that's what we work on is the dead ones. All right, its function now is to produce new cells, okay? It produces new cells.
Can you repeat the special cells, please?
They're living cells, like they're alive, okay?
Thank you.
I always make this little joke to the girls. I'm like, the dermis is alive because it actually has blood vessels and stuff in that one. Okay, blood vessels, nerve endings, all kinds of stuff in that dermal layer. And since the germinativum is right next to it, that's why it's alive, pretty much. Okay, does anybody have any questions so far on those that we've gone through?
What's the common name, please?
For the last one, for germinativum?
Yeah.
Okay, it's known as the basal layer, B-A-S-A-L.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to change this page. See if it'll. Okay, it's just a repeat here. Okay, what we've gone over pretty much. Okay, your stratum germinativum. I don't want you to put anything in your book yet. Okay, these are where the skin cells growth occurs through mitosis or cell division, where they split into daughter cells and then reproduce. Correct? All right, keratinization of the cells begins here. Okay, that's what it means by when it hardens. Okay, and it's going to contain those melanocytes, which are basically melanocytes. Okay, melanin cells. Keratinization now is going to be the chemical conversion of living cells into dead protein cells. So as those layers from the germinativum move forward up to the top layer of our skin, they get, I don't want to say deader and deader, but they lose the moisture until they're just nothing but flakes, okay, and they fall off. Your melanocytes produce the melanosomes containing melanin, which gives the skin our color, to our eyes, to our hair, okay, into our skin. Okay, so those are all found in that stratum germinativum. Okay, everything is on it. You don't have to put this on your page just yet. Okay. All right, we should be on 401, but I'm going to go through this just one more time with you guys. Going to break it down. Okay, here's that spinosum that we were talking about. Okay. This one includes the cells that have been absorbed through the melanin to distribute that pigmentation to other cells. They become irregularly shaped and appear as spines between the cells. That's why I gave you that definition to put into your book. Okay, this is just review. You're not having to put any of this in your book. All right, but it started from the bottom. I don't know. They go through the top and they go through the bottom. Okay. The stratum granulosum, this is that third layer. Okay?
Can you go back up to that one, please? Because I didn't get that one.
Okay, you don't have to put this one in your book though, Shay, okay?
Because I didn't get the functions for the spiny one.
Which one? The spiny?
Yeah.
The spiny one, okay, is absorbs melanin to distribute pigmentation to other cells. That help?
Yes, it did. Thank you. And what was the special name for that one as well?
The special name is living cells. That's special.
For the spiny one?
Yeah, no, on the spiny one, it's irregularly shaped and spiny. So it's like
Okay,
irregular.
what's the common name for it there?
The common name was spiny layer, if you're talking about spinosum, right?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
No problem. Did I go too fast? Does anybody else need any information from prior on that page? No? Okay, I'm going to move forward. Now, I don't want you to write this in your book, okay, this stuff that we're going over right now. It's just review of what we went through and you broke it down and already put it in your book, okay? Okay, so we went through the stratum germinativum, okay? All right, then you're going to go through the spinosum, right? We just went through that, okay? Then you're going to come up to the granulosum, okay, where the cells become more regular and shaped, and they look like tiny granules. That's why I talked about granola when I was actually giving you a description of it, okay? These are the almost dead cells because they're on their way to the surface of the skin to replace the cells that were shed from the stratum corneum, okay, 25 to 28 days earlier. Okay, this is how they move up. So that's why it's going from the bottom up now to review. Okay, the stratum lucidum is found only on the palms of the hands and soles of the feet, okay, where there are no hair follicles. Okay, they contain cells that are more flattened and transparent. Okay, that's where the lucidum comes in. The cells of this layer are called squamous cells due to their flat, scale-like appearance, making the skin thickest on the palms and hands and soles of your feet. Okay, again, this is just review. All right, and this is the top layer, the stratum corneum. Okay, this is known as the toughest layer of the epidermis. It's composed of keratin proteins that shed continuously and are replaced with new cells, okay, from the granulosum, right, on our face. This protects all the lower layers of the skin, unless there's some type of break in the skin, and then infection can set in. Does anybody have any questions so far on those layers? Now, I don't know if some of you have already done the homework, but I was asked, you know, what could I use for that? And if were you supposed to do the 3 layers or the 5 layers, right? The 3 layers was the composition of it. So that was the epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous. I think the homework assignment was supposed to be the 5 layers of the epidermis for you to do, okay? So I'm going to give you an example, and from starting from the bottom where the germinativum was, I've used sunflower seeds because it's like the seeds that are growing right from the very bottom. Then the spinosum, I used like string licorice or gummy bears because I'm trying to make that little spiny area. Okay, the next layer I use granola, crushed up a granola bar and put it in there for that layer. The next one would be the lucidum, which is clear. So I used clear wrapping paper, you know, like saran wrap, and put a layer in of that. And then the top layer I put in cornflakes because they're all dried up because that's basically what's happening to our skin. We have a lot of moisture from the bottom of our skin and as it moves up. So let's just go back to where the composition of the 3 layers, right? Think of the very bottom, the subcutaneous, where it's plump, okay? And it's got all this nice nourishment in there. So think of them as big, fat, juicy grapes. You know, those big grapes, green grapes you get at the grocery store? All right, and as they lose their moisture, okay, we're going up to the dermal layer, they turn into like raisins, okay? They start to lose the water moisture content in them. And then when they get up to the epidermis, they are like cornflakes. There's no water whatsoever. So they just dry off and flake off. So it's trying to give you an analogy of the 3 layers and the 5 layers. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions so far on what I've gone through? No? Okay. All right. See what we got here. We should be on page 401. Oh, it's going to go over this. I still review, so sorry. The dermis, true skin or corium, okay, is that underlying or inner layer of the skin that makes up that connective tissue. Okay, just an FYI, connective tissue is something that you will need to know for board, okay? And I remember connective tissue like this. Think of it like the leg bone's connected to the thigh bone and the thigh bone's connected to the knee bone. That's how to remember them. It's connecting them together. Do I have your RVs for today?
No, on here.
Hold on one, you guys. I'll go back over here. I don't know which ones are which. Okay.
Okay, just any ROPs that are on here, when you guys go on at 2:30, bring your doll heads, please.
Did you guys hear that? ROPs that come on at 2:30, bring your doll heads. Okay? All right. Because we kind of got a little, I knew I was supposed to be giving you theory and then Connie was supposed to be doing your practical. So that's why she's telling me to bring your doll heads in. Okay? All right, I'm going to share the screen again because it still is reviewing, okay? So I don't want you to fill in your book yet. Just goes into a little bit more, okay? But it's not necessary to put in the book just yet. Okay. The dermis will contain sudoriferous glands, which are also known as your sweat glands, okay? What does pseudo mean in Spanish? Sometimes that helps you remember. It basically is sweat. Okay, sebaceous gland. Okay, this is your oil gland, and your oil gland, okay, it secretes sebum. So SEB helps you remember that it's from sebum, SEB. Okay, so your sebaceous glands, you shouldn't get them confused between your sweat and your oil glands now. All right, and then you have sensory nerve endings and receptors. Okay, pain, cold, pressure, that kind of stuff. You also have blood vessels in this one. Okay, that's why I'm constantly saying, is he live? Okay, because that dermis has everything in there that's working. Okay, erectile pili muscles. Does anybody know what that is? That's your goosebumps when you get cold and it kind of swells up and it pushes the hair follicle up to insulate you. Okay, and then the major portion of your hair follicle. So I used to say I could shave my legs and then go outside and be cold and my hair would grow again because it was trying to warm me up. But we couldn't understand what was going on. All right, so all of this is located in the dermal layer, all right? Hopefully there's a little picture in here. In your study guide, do you see that illustration where it says label the parts of the skin on page 401? Okay, that's basically what they're telling us. That's what some of that stuff is located. So there's a brown like little, it's a follicle, okay? That's the hair follicle that's coming up from that. I'm gonna show you right here. You can see that middle one, it's like this right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, let's turn to our next page here. All right, now you're going to be putting some of this in there, okay? All right, I know you're going to say, what about the true skin at the top, huh? All I want you to put on the top part of that, where on page 401, where it says dermis, true skin, I want you to write connective tissue. Okay, that's what I want you to put in there, and collagen and elastin fibers. Okay. Okay. And then it supports the epidermis to give the skin its elasticity. All right. What's going to happen is I'm going to have you do a little exercise on your hand. Okay, you see my hand like this? I want you to pick up your skin, pinch it, and let it drop. Okay. So mine is going to go like, see how long it takes? So bad. Pinch your skin, it bounces right back. Mine goes, whoop. It's so embarrassing. So as the skin ages, it loses its elasticity. Okay, so that's what your collagen and elastin does to the skin. All right, So in that area, like I said, it should say connective tissue, contains collagen and elastin, okay, fibers that support the epidermis and give the skin its elasticity, which I don't have anymore. But when you pinch your skin, it should bounce right back quickly, okay? And as we lose it, it gets slower and slower as it starts to come down. Does anyone need anything put into that area? Did you get it all that I just said? Venetia, did you get it all, hon?
Yeah, it's made of connective tissue, collagen, and elastin fibers that support the epidermis, which gives the skin the elasticity.
Exactly. Yes, good. Okay. Under your sudoriferous glands, okay, this, I don't want you to write this just yet, okay? This consists of a coiled base or tube-like duct opening on the surface of the skin to form a sweat pore, okay? It has three main functions, and that's what you're going to be writing, okay? That sudoriferous glands, in that first bubble, you're going to write, it regulates body temperature, okay? What happens is you overheat and your body starts to sweat to cool you down, okay? The second bubble, you're going to write excrete waste, okay? That's when we start to sweat it out, all right? You're trying to get rid of all those toxins in your body when you sweat. And then your third bubble right there, you're going to write, it maintains an acidic pH. Okay. Because it leaves basically that acid mantle on your skin, okay? I try to describe the acid mantle on your face as kind of like the vegetable sprayer at the grocery store, right? It just mists out every once in a while. And then it stops. And then 20 minutes later or something, it'll spritz it out again. If the skin thinks it needs that, it will spray it out, that acid mantle. It's kind of weird, but it's the way it actually works. All right, so you do know what your sudoriferous gland is, right? I want you guys to understand too that your sweat comes from a pore, but your oil comes from a follicle, okay? All right, just so that you know what that means, okay? Because you have both of those on the surface of your skin, a pore and a follicle. All right, here's your sebaceous gland. Okay, this is going to be, see how the SEB from sebaceous, it actually stands for that SEB from sebum. Okay, these are sac-like glands that are attached to the hair follicle that produce sebum. And you're going to write that whole sentence right there into your workbook. Okay, just the part about the sac-like glands attached to your hair follicles. Okay, where it says sebaceous gland. Okay. And what it does is it actually lubricates that hair follicle so that it doesn't get stuck as it's growing up, because it's growing underneath your skin like this at an angle, okay? And a little bit of oil lubricates that hair so it makes its way up. These are 2 to 3 times larger around facial hair follicles than around your scalp follicles, okay? And they cause oily skin when there's an overabundance of sebum that's produced. These are not found on your palms of your hands or the soles of your feet, because if they did, we'd drop everything. It'd be too greasy, right? We do have sweat, but we don't have oil. All right. So the only thing you need to put onto your textbook or your study guide right there is just that top little paragraph. Okay. The sac-like glands that are attached to the hair follicles that produce sebum. Okay. You see where that arrow is at on the illustration? That's basically the sac they're talking about, and it actually secretes inside of there. All right, I'm going to turn this page. Should be on sebum now. Okay, there we go. That sebum is a complex secretion containing a high percentage of fatty, oily substance. And that's the best I can give you as far as a description. It's a fatty, oily substance. And that's what you're going to write next to sebum in your text, in your study guide. Okay. Your acid mantle now, it actually keeps the skin smooth and prevents dirt and grime from entering the pores, and it prevents it from drying and chafing. So these are the little things that are in there, but I want you to write it this way so you don't have to write it like everything on the board. I just want you to write down, keeps the skin smooth. Okay, that's the first thing I want you to write. Okay, prevents dirt and grime from entering the pore. And prevents the skin from drying and chafing. All three of those are a test question. Okay. Now, does anybody know how a blackhead is made? I'm going to give you a little test on this. Actually, I'll give you a little lesson. Okay, I'm going to go back to this page right here so you can see my illustration. Okay. All right. Now, this is coming from a hair follicle, right? Okay. Where that oil secretes inside that follicle and makes its way up to the top layer of the skin, okay? That sebum secretes too much and gets right to the top. All right. And we all know that we've all removed a blackhead before. We kind of get it. Tweeze a little bit and it looks like a little silly string coming out, right? Little white stuff. Well, what happens is when that oil makes its way up to the top layer of the skin, it oxidizes from the dirt outside, and that actually turns it black. And that's why you get a blackhead. And of course, the blackhead has to be removed. And if it's done improperly, you end up leaving a hole there. Okay. So what you have to do is to cleanse the skin properly, soften it, remove the impaction, and then close it down with an astringent or a toner. Okay. But occasionally, and I've seen this, a girl will walk by the mirror, you know, and go, oh, I got that little blackhead in the corner of my forehead. I'm just going to get that out real quick. Well, with that makeup on and she tries to remove that, she ends up leaving a hole there because it wasn't properly, the removal was not properly done. Okay, so you do have to cleanse it, okay? Soften that area, wiggle it out, don't use your fingernails, okay, to get the impaction out, and then close it back down, and you don't leave a scar. But if you do it the other way, you're gonna leave a hole, which means that every month it's gonna start filling up. And then it'll get exposed to the outside elements and it will turn black, and you'll get this over and over and over again. Okay, that's basically how a blackhead is formed. Yeah, I'm turning this page right here. A whitehead, okay, is not a pustule, okay? A whitehead is usually where skin has grown over the top, all right? Because you've over exfoliated, so now the skin closes off that opening, okay, that you had before, and it kind of grows over the top. A whitehead is going to be what you might see around their eyes, because a lot of girls will get them because they're using petroleum-based products to remove like waterproof mascara, and then they don't get the petroleum off properly. So it clogs up the pore. And what happens is no air gets inside of there. So instead of that sebum being soft like it is in a blackhead, it hardens. And so they can be there for years, the same little whitehead, until actually there's either a needle that goes in there when a doctor does it and actually lances it and then pops out this little piece, it feels like a piece of sand or maybe a piece of salt or something. It's very crystallized because it had no air. Whereas the blackhead had air and oxidized on the outside. Like, you guys understand that? It's a little tricky, huh? It's kind of cool when you look at it and like, oh, is that how I got that? So you don't want to over exfoliate either, okay? And then a pustule is going to be when you have pus in a pimple. All right, we're going to go down to the subcutaneous, okay, in your workbook. All right, and what you're going to write in this one is, it gives contour to the body, okay? Because it's that fatty layer below the dermis that's like a protective cushion for the skin. You know where it says acts as a shock absorber? This is what I tell my students. As you get older, you lose that fatty part of that tissue. So your grandma, when you push her down, that's why she breaks a hip, because she doesn't have any of that cushion to help her bounce back normally, like the rest of you do. When you fall down, you kind of bounce back up, but they don't because they don't have any of that fatty tissue left. Okay, so in your workbook, I want you to write, gives contour to the body and acts as a shock absorber to protect your bones. Okay, gives contour to the body. That's that little kind of shape, okay? And acts as a shock absorber to protect your bones. And it's an emergency reservoir of food and water. Okay, so it's going to be on your little bullets, the first one, the third one, and the fourth one. You don't have to write the second one. Okay. Now this layer is below the dermis. Okay, in your illustration, okay, we're going to label these parts. Okay, you have them to fill in. I want you to write on number 1, the stratum corneum, okay, in your illustration. Number 2, you're going to put stratum lucidum in your illustration. Three is going to be the stratum granulosum. 4 is going to be the stratum spinosum. Okay, 5 is going to be stratum germinativum. 6 is going to be your sebaceous gland. And 7 is going to be your sudoriferous gland. So you see that coil that's on to the left for number 7. And then you see your oil duct, which is the sebaceous, okay? They're two different things. So your oil actually comes up through that hair follicle, right? But your sweat comes up on a pore. Okay, just so that you guys understand the two of them. So any questions so far that we've covered on?
Do we have a picture of the labels?
You mean of what I just said?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have this in your textbook, okay, like mine. Do you have that one like right there? Can you see it, Shay? Right here?
Yeah, I can see it, but it's not on our workbook, so I'm gonna check the big book.
Okay. I thought there was a picture in your study guide for it.
You said the number 4 is spinosum?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So I really can't go like this and show you because my pointer doesn't show you what you see, you know what I mean? Here, let me see if I can go back to this other one. All right, Shay, I'm going to turn the page back where we have another picture of it.
Okay.
I think it's going to be the same exact thing. What I can do though, Shay, I can send you one on the zip. Okay, I'll take a picture of it. All right. See if it actually shows us here on the next page. If it gives you that. That's the one we were on. Okay. This might be it. No. No, this is reviewing basically. No, it doesn't. I'll take a picture and send it to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, if you guys want a picture sent, send a text back to the school and say, I need a picture of it, and I will do it. Oh, that's good. That's exactly what it looks like. Where is that? Did you find that, Anthony?
That's in my workbook.
Okay. Do you have your workbook, Shay?
I only have my smart notes.
It's in the
it.
smart notes.
It is in your smart notes.
Okay.
Should be on page 401.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, but I just wanted the diagram of the names on them already.
Oh,
So
I can give you the names and you can fill it in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, number 1 is going to be stratum corneum. Here's another way to remember epidermis. They all start with stratum.
Yes.
That's another way, okay? Number 2 is stratum lucidum. Okay. 3 is stratum granulosum. Okay, 4 is going to be stratum spinosum. Okay, 5 is going to be stratum germinativum. Okay, and 6 is going to be sebaceous gland, which is your oil gland. And 7 is going to be pseudoriferous. Does that help you?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. All right. Anyone have any questions before we go on? Because I don't want to go through skin, your skin types yet until tomorrow. But any questions so far on what we've covered? Let's stop that so I can see you. Okay. No one has any questions? Maybe if you haven't done your actual, example of the layers of the skin, you can use the one I gave you as an example, okay? Or you can draw it, okay? But they're basically wanting to know, do you understand what those layers kind of look like? Or give it something that might make you be able to remember what they do, okay? Because remember, like I talked about grapes being on the bottom and then raisins and then cornflakes. Okay, that's basically giving you what I think that would look like to me. Okay, so you're just doing the same thing, but you can either do the 3 layers or the 5. The 5 is pretty much what we've been doing. Okay, so I don't know if they were real clear on that. Anthony said that what weren't.
It just said layers of the skin.
Of the skin,
so I
yeah.
just did all
The 3.
of it. Yeah, I just did it
It's
all.
okay. Because it's okay. I just want you to be able to remember, because they're going to ask a lot of questions on the 5. Like, what do they do? What those layers do? So one's like putting out pigmentation. One of them is drying and protecting the outside layers. You know what I mean? So that's what your questioning will be on as far as testing at board.
I
Okay.
did, but I didn't know that you had to represent like spiky layers and stuff. So this is mine. I did it with colored
Oh,
cereal.
that's great. Yeah, that's another one with food. So
That's
as
what
long
I'm
as
saying. They didn't really, it just said
specify.
draw the layers. So it didn't say even label them. It just said draw them.
That's
I
okay.
I just did all the 3 layers, and then the epidermis I just
That's a good one.
used.
But that's basically what they're asking for, you guys. So you can do either one because that's what they said. You can draw the layers, that's fine. Okay. If you want to make one, you can take a picture of it and just send it. You know what I mean? It's your interpretation of what the layers of the skin are. Okay. All right. I'm going to let you go if you've got no more questions.
Did we fill up that tiny on the small note which says skin pigmentation, the last one?
No, we haven't filled that in yet. I can
Okay.
give you that one, hon.
Yeah,
Okay. I
then-
give it for everybody because that's the last page, huh? Before.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Skin pigmentation is melanin. It's MELANIN. Okay. The melanin is there to protect us from the UV lights. I like to joke around and say that the melanin we have is our body's internal sunscreen, which isn't very good because we have to wear sunscreen, but it's when we get sunburn, it darkens as we get, okay? So that's basically what it's doing. The melanin changes when we get damage done to it. So when we get a suntan, sometimes that's not such a good thing because it has done damage, and that's why it turns dark, okay, on your skin. So on melanin, you're gonna put down, it protects the skin from UV lights, ultraviolet light, okay? And melanin is basically what tans our skin. So when I'm trying to tan the rest, trying to protect the rest of my body, I have to stick out my tongue. That's gonna make the sun stay away from the rest of my body. I'm just joking. All right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, bye, Miss
sorry.
J.
Bye-bye.